Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. Matthew 28:19 and 20. In 1997, Reverend Emma Chiwanuka, with a team of Americans, planted Zana Community Presbyterian Church in Zana, a suburb of Kampala, 8 kilometers from the capital city. The church had 15 believers fellowshipping under papyrus mats and tarpaulins, when a piece of land measuring 9,000 square feet was bought to build the church. In 1998, the first building was raised, and since then the church has continued to grow by purchasing surrounding land and adding onto the original church building through a series of building projects. The first church building measured 1,560 square feet. Then in 2002, additions increased it to 1,800 square feet, where now it is over 6,300 square feet, showing the growth of the church.
It is to pray. To pray and to pray and to pray. Someone has said that when things get tough in the church, when you are attacked and tired, when you are depressed, and you have to know that such things go on in the territory we are living in. You have to pray.
In the 1990s, there was a rapid growth of churches in Uganda, and pastors were not trained to the big task ahead of them. In 1996, Reverend Emma, who had just returned from California from his graduate studies, started Westminster Theological College with the aim of training men and women for ministry and leadership. Originally, classes started in the worship center of First Presbyterian Church with 15 students, and all classes were being taught by Reverend Emma. In 1998, Bob Borger from First Presbyterian Church of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, sent funds for the first structure of WTC, and it was set up at Zana Church. Students started coming from Uganda, Sudan, Rwanda, Congo, Burundi, and Kenya. As the number of students increased, men and women responding to the Great Commission started coming in from America and Scotland. With the growth of Zana Church and its satellite ministries, the facilities for the college became inadequate, and as a result, 16 acres of land were purchased in 2003 for a new campus.
You are welcome to Weah Campus, the Westminster Theological College and Seminary, the training institution of our denomination, and not just for our denomination, but for many denominations where the Reformed faith is taught to many men and women that come over this institution. And over here we offer a number of programs ranging from the certificate, diploma, undergraduates, and also the masters. So welcome. This is a gift from God that is given us as a church to enable us to disciple men for the gospel ministry.
The Zana community has been hit hard by the AIDS epidemic, and very many of the congregants are infected and affected. Very many widows and orphans were left behind, and many children were not going to school. Meet Mukalazi William. He is 8 years old. His father died of HIV/AIDS and his mother is bedridden. He stays with his grandmother and his young siblings. His grandmother is blind and William has to take care of the family. He is the one who nurses his mother and also prepares the meals for the family. In this situation, William could not go to school because his grandmother had no money, and the little from their garden is used to nurse his mother and his young sister. In 2004, Zana Church started a school to respond to suffering kids like William. The center started under a tree with 40 children, and as time went on, classes were conducted under a tent. Through church support from Zana members, missionaries, organizations in the community, buildings have been put up, one at a time, from kindergarten to primary, and now secondary. Meet Bossa Williams.
I'm called Bossa William. I'm 17 years old. I really thank God for this opportunity, and I thank Him that He has given me everything which I need through Zana Christian High School. I joined Zana when I was 9 years old. After the death of my parents, my mother and my father, they died some time back. Then the grandmother who was taking care of me, she also passed away. I felt so sad. But really, God can answer prayers. Through Zana, I am able to go to school. I joined Zana in 2008, and right now, I am in Senior 3. I really thank God for the support towards me for the church, from the church. I really thank God that God has used different people whom I don't know so that I may go to school. And I really thank God for Teacher Patrick. I really thank God for my sponsor who has paid for my school fees. Really, I'm so excited about that. Thank you for your support, those who are paying for my school fees. I know it's just because of you, it's just God used you. That's why I'm able to go to school. And I again thank Him that you've supported very many kids here at Zana, those whom you don't know, but you've provided. Yeah, I thank God for that. I thank Him that even our school is expanding daily and daily. Materials are provided. God is so good. I really thank Him. And I thank Him that even I'm in boarding section. I'm not a day scholar. I don't waste any coin of transport, but I really stay at school. I start school, everything is provided to me. Really, God is so great. And I want to say that glory and honor be to the Lord.
He was picked up when he was 9 years old after the death of his father, mother, and his grandmother. He started in primary, and now he is in secondary and working on his dream of becoming an engineer. Here at school, students receive formal and vocational training, spiritual nurturing,
Jesus loved us so much that He gave His life for you and I. And through Him alone, we will have life one everlasting. We will have
and counseling to give them hope. They also receive 2 hot meals a day, breakfast and lunch. As we continue to nurture these vulnerable children, the problem is still big. Many children are in difficult situations, with some coming from as far away as Sudan, Rwanda, and Congo. Many of these have no place to stay, so our prayer is to construct more structures to accommodate these children and keep them in class. Food is very essential to responding to the hunger problem of orphans. The ministry started farming, growing food to feed the orphans. Initially, it was costly and energy-consuming as we used to use our hands to dig. In 2012, Nepal Church donated a tractor which has increased food production in the ministry.
This is our garden here in Fiji, the birthplace of Reverend Emma. Here we grow sweet potatoes, cassava, beans, and maize to feed the orphans. Previously, we used to use hands. It was tiresome, time-consuming. But last year, through Nepal Church, we managed to get a tractor, and this has increased our food production.
We hope to reach out to more orphans with food. We thank the Almighty for the work done through men and women who have served sacrificially to see that His kingdom is built, along with churches and organizations that have stood with our ministries. Our prayer is to continue. We desire to spread the gospel through church ministries.
We are not simply a church that meets on Sunday, but we are a church that ministers throughout the week. We are so thankful for all our partners who have stood with us all these years, and they continue to stand with us. And we look even for greater things in this place. And we pray that God will also build up a big high school in this community so that we may teach our children for a Christian or biblical worldview. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
To offer theological training and to reach out to orphans through education by completing the secondary building and feeding the orphans.